Newtown Artesian Water Company presentation, Mr. Dan Angove.
Thank you. I know I've met most of you, but there's some new faces here, so some very new. Congratulations.
Thank you.
My name is Dan Angove. I'm the Assistant General Manager for Newtown Artesian Water Company, and I want to first thank you for allowing me the platform to speak to our consumers, because consumer confidence and satisfaction is definitely our #1 priority at Newtown Water. So thank you. Our goal, as always, is to provide safe and reliable drinking water while maintaining efficient and cost-effective service. With this, we continuously meet or exceed all standards placed by DEP and EPA. We employ 8 state licensed operators, myself included, and we are regulated by the Public Utility Commission, the PUC, and also governed by the DEP, Department of Environmental Protection. Newtown Artesian has served residents since 1888. This includes residential, commercial, and industrial accounts in the borough, the township, and the northern part of Middletown Township, with over 10,000 connections and a population of roughly 38,000. We average a daily demand around 2.2 million gallons a day, and our source contains 5 local wells, which produce roughly 40% of our drinking water, and 2 interconnects making up the other 60%, that being with Bucks County Water and Sewer and Pennsylvania American Water Yardley District. We have 4 storage tanks for emergency and fire protection. More recently, we've been attending local events. Hopefully, you've stopped by our booths for some information. We have 3 primary objectives for doing this. They are to promote conservation, source water protection, and to ensure customer confidence. We push for conservation because water is such a precious resource, so we must use it wisely. Information about this and ways to conserve can be found on our website, newtownwater.com. We've teamed up with local officials and businesses to maintain source water protection. This will help in monitoring any threats to our source water, and one of the major parts of source protection is properly disposing of old medicine. I want to touch on this because this is a problem that's come about. We implore residents to use pharmaceutical drop-off locations to properly dispose of old medicine. I believe one of these locations can be found here, the police station.
Mm-hmm.
So that's definitely one location locally that can drop that off. And finally, customer confidence. We strive to go above and beyond to provide safe and reliable drinking water. Over the past year, we've collected over 600 water samples throughout the system and are in complete compliance with all regulations and standards. With so much in the news today about water quality and concerns related to it, we want to assure residents that the water is completely safe. Sample results and more information regarding the water quality can be found on our website, newtownwater.com, under the Consumer Confidence Reports, or the CCRs. With that, I'd like to take any questions that you guys have.
Any questions, Mr. Angove?
Well, yes. As you know, I attended the EPA Community Engagement meeting in Horsham, and you were there yourself. And there was a lot of controversy of what is the proper standard for PFAS. Can you explain what PFAS are,
Perfluorinated compounds? Mm-hmm.
Can you just first explain what those are?
Sure. The PFOAs and PFAs both fall under the perfluorinated compounds, and it's man-made chemicals that have leached into the water. That's the major source of that up in the Horsham area was the military bases that they were using for the foam that they were using over the years had leached into the water, and the residents dealt with that for many years, unaware of what they were drinking, and that came about with some unregulated samples that they found that in the water, and have since set a standard at 70 parts per trillion as a health guideline. And that meeting was all about EPA moving forward with setting an official MCL for a maximum contaminant level. And once they do that, it will be a regulation for all water companies to test for it.
Right. Most of the communities there were not satisfied with that 70 parts per million, and I know that's what the Pennsylvania Department of Health requires, that you follow that guideline. But New Jersey, for example, has set their guidelines at 13 to 14 parts per trillion. And municipalities like Horsham really want it down to the non-detect level.
Correct.
And another water company, Aqua Water, supplies some water to Upper Dublin, and they had water levels of PFA levels of 30 to 50 parts per trillion.
Correct.
And at first Aqua said, well, it still complies with the Department of Health, but they did shut down their well. But your reports, from what I understand, you're not detecting any PFAS in the water that you supply to Newtown. And can you explain what undetected,
Sure.
When you have that in your report, what that means?
Sure. So this first came in the news about 3, maybe 4 years ago, when the unregulated samples were collected. And since then, we collected them and had non-detect, which is below a 5 parts per trillion level. As I said, right now it's 70 in PA, 13 and 14 in New Jersey. We're on non-detect, which means we're below a 5 parts per trillion. And with that, there's basically nothing in the water.
Well, that's good to know, but consumers should know that one of your reports, there's a table in there, water supply from Yardley, from, I forget the name of the company, PA American Water.
American Water, correct.
And it reported levels in that sample between 6.5 and 9.3 parts per trillion. Now there's another government agency from the CDC that says that's really like the borderline of safe at that level. They're recommending 10 times lower than what the EPA has recommended. But now that, if they were looking at that report where this source of water says it's about 8 parts per trillion, what does that mean? Does that mean that some of the water we're getting might have that level of PFAS in it?
No, it doesn't. That means that one of their sources, they're similar to us, where they have many sources of water, the Delaware River wells. One of their wells tested for that, but we tested directly from the interconnect with them, and that came back as non-detect.
Okay. I think that's all I wanted to say. I want to thank you for coming here tonight to present this report.
Oh, thank you.
And to clarify some questions I had. And I hope the Newtown Artesian Water Company will support more public education about PFAS. I mean, perhaps part of a Parks and Rec program. I know you participated at the science day.
Trying to get out there more. And with that, we're completing annual tests voluntarily on this perfluorinated compound samples. There's no regulations for us to do so, and we're doing that just to ensure customer safety.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I do have a question that came to mind. You mentioned you're testing for the water samples. Are you testing just the Newtown wells, or also testing the feeds that you get from the other sources?
Absolutely, we test.
Okay, you test. You don't rely on them for their testing.
Correct.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Any other questions? Dan, thank you very much.